No better player right now for Brazil than Raphinha.
I completely agree, and watching how he'll put the team on his back.
Coming into this in fantastic form, Raphinha having a Ballon d'Or caliber season.
He is that still sense of special something in terms of just the fun, the jogo bonito that he brings. I just am curious to see in this window Raphinha at that number 10 position.
Fala galera, bem-vindos ao Fute Brasil pelo Mundo. Hoje trazemos uma análise da TV americana sobre a nossa seleção. Segundo eles, estamos vivendo uma grande transição da lendária camisa 10 da seleção. E o novo protagonista será o Raphinha, já deixando o Neymar em segundo plano na nossa seleção. Será mesmo? Vamos conferir essa visão dos norte-americanos sobre o momento da seleção canarinha. Mas antes, se você ainda não é inscrito, já se inscreve no nosso canal para não perder nada sobre o futebol brasileiro falado pelo mundo. E é claro, já deixa aquele like que fortalece demais o nosso trabalho. Bora pro vídeo.
I just am curious to see in this window Raphinha at that number 10 position, a player that I think could benefit significantly from him getting going, Vinicius Jr.
Yes.
Man.
Brazil will test their mettle in World Cup qualifying starting tomorrow when they take on Colombia, and then on March 25th when they take on a Messi-less Argentina side. And coming into this in fantastic form, Raphinha having a Ballon d'Or caliber season. The 28-year-old putting up big numbers with his Barcelona side. There was a lot of anticipation around these games, not only due to the monster opponents, but the potential return of Neymar. Neymar will not be there. He has not featured for Brazil since October of 2023. So my question is, has Raphinha done enough to make Brazil his team?
I'll answer that easily. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right now, this Brazilian national team, and I hammered them in the last couple windows because they were deserving of it, they look devoid of an identity. And there's this void that creative players and special players can only fill. Neymar, what he meant to the Brazilian national team, he was not just their football leader, he was their spiritual leader, their emotional leader. Right now, Brazil, they need Raphinha, not just his goals that he's scoring for Barcelona, but people forget this guy is also a creative machine. He's got 5 assists in his last 6 matches coming in the international break. So he's on form in terms of creativity. He's the one pulling the strings from a central position, and with Neymar operating in that number 10 position, talking to people associated with Brazil on the ground there, they're saying that fans in Brazil, they're looking to him not just to be the difference maker, but to be that prototypical number 10. He's played it for Barcelona. In that match against Atleti, Hansi Flick brought him into that number 10 position, and it was the parting of the Red Seas. You see the pass that he made to, Ferran Torres?
Yeah.
He needs to do it, and he can do it for Brazil, because with the table, what it is, Brazil are only 1 point ahead of Paraguay, and the pressure is ratcheting up looking at the teams that are playing in Colombia and Argentina.
I mean, you can't be the leader of the team and of the nation and of a national team when you're just not there. And, you know, it seems like there's some type of, I don't know what it is, curse looming over Neymar every single time. It's like he's back from injury. Now it's Brazilian national team call up, and then he gets injured right beforehand. So when you look at how long and how many absences he's had, and most of them are all due to injury, though. So I'm not blaming Neymar. What I'm saying is that when you have a national team, you need a leader that is consistent, to your point, that is ball-in, but also represents the identity of a nation through their footballing characteristics and their ability to pull them through adverse moments. No better player right now for Brazil than Raphinha.
I completely agree, and watching how he'll put the team on his back. They're down a man, they have 10 men on the field. He'll be the one to take the ball and have an audacious shot that ends up going in goal. And I think the most important thing is the spirit that Neymar brought to this team. When you're physically not there, they need somebody like that. Brazil has always had somebody like that, and Raphinha can absolutely be. I mean, look at this man's eyes. That's somebody you want to follow. That intensity, but that passion he has on the pitch, that galvanizes an entire team behind you. With all of that talent, he can lead it.
He looks like me when Jill asked me to answer a word in one word.
One word
I'm
answer.
not going to stop asking that, by the way.
Like, what? I mean, what I will say, though, from an emotional standpoint and from a nostalgic standpoint, these types of era shifts, if you will, are not easy. They really aren't easy. So when you even look back at the time when the team was being handed over to Neymar, you're saying goodbye to the likes of Ronaldinho. You're saying goodbye to players that, you know, globally we love. And globally, we love Neymar. And I think that has been a little bit lost in some of the controversy and absences and going to Saudi and it not working very well and him going back to Santos X, Y, and Z. I think the love for Neymar has been lost. And I don't want to see that, and I don't want to continue to perpetuate that narrative, because how he has really revolutionized football has to be remembered. And his career is not done. The story is not done. And we've seen players completely revitalize themselves, rise from the ashes like a phoenix, and this is a player that has really inspired generations, millions, if not billions of people to not only fall in love with the sport, but to continue to love the game through his expression.
The numbers I really want to point out, because we're talking about their national teams, but when you look at their club appearances, Neymar has managed just 14 appearances over the last 2 years, 4 goals. Raphinha, 79 appearances, with 37 goals. So while the love might be lost, it's just a sample size of what people are seeing. Does it have to be, if Raphinha plays brilliantly against Colombia and against Argentina and the people unite around that, should Neymar return, isn't there room for both of them?
Look, I think what you get with Raphinha, you get a game changer, a difference maker, and being in national team pools and camps, there is a sense of culture, and with Brazil, you have to have that ginga, samba, that magic, that special something.
Can't you have it for both guys?
No, and those guys look up to Neymar.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you on the football sense. There is that sense of love lost, but people on the ground, I mean, this guy, he's idolized. He is that still sense of special something in terms of just the fun, the jogo bonito that he brings. I just am curious to see in this window, Raphinha at that number 10 position, a player that I think could benefit significantly from him getting going, Vinicius Jr.
Yes.
Man, Vinny Jr. has been asked to play as a striker. He's been asked to play as a false nine, a winger. He has not been going, and in my opinion, he ceded that throne to Raphinha to be the next man up for Brazil. So if there's love lost for Neymar, there's love gained for Raphinha in this
Vinny Jr.
massive, massive window.
I really love that shout. I also think that pressure being off of Vinny, I don't know if he was in the place to handle it, but I think Raphinha absolutely can. It will also get the best out of Vinny. Now you have me really thinking this, because if Vinny's playing with somebody where there's that enjoyment, that passion, it's Brazil, and Raphinha can actually galvanize that team and lead and get the best out of Vinny by the way he plays, this team is going back to the Brazil that we know and love.
Yeah.
And to answer your question specifically, Jill, is there room for both of them or all of the stars? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, there absolutely is. And this was to my earlier point. When you look at the historics of the Brazilian national team that we all fell in love with when we were kids, Lahoud, you have a turning of the guard at all times. When Roberto Carlos is coming to an end, you have players that are coming in. When you have R9 that is, descending, you have Ronaldinho ascending. When Ronaldinho is descending, Neymar is ascending. So it's just an ebb of flow of the times. But when the top dog now is not the top dog, that doesn't mean that they're just completely done and dusted.
Brazil will be going up against a pair of South American top dogs in Colombia tomorrow.